Here you have it, the LockNLube G-Gun. Now inside here, as you can see on the box, we've got our G-Gun grease gun. In addition, we've got our G-Scoop, which we'll get into in a couple minutes. Now to remove from the box, I'm gonna grab onto this handle, nice rugged handle, get the G-Gun out of there. And the last thing inside is our G-Scoop. Now the G-Gun is designed for high pressure, high volume greasing in extreme environments. This holds bulk grease. That's gonna cut the cost of grease in half. It's also gonna eliminate the need to reload and prime your grease gun constantly. It puts out an ounce of grease in 11 strokes. That's 4 times the volume you're gonna get from traditional hand pump or cordless grease guns. Less pumping, faster greasing. Like I said, holds bulk grease. It holds 2 gallons of grease. That's the equivalent of almost 20 tubes, so you can go that long between reloading. In addition, it's got a patented pressure return valve in it. What that means is that if you hit a clogged grease fitting and you have pressure in the hose, you simply kick up on the pedal and all that back pressure drains right back into the canister. You get a clean, easy disconnect, no wasted grease. Because it's foot operated, this G-Gun lives on the ground. You can move it around with the handle, but when you go to pump it, it's on the ground. Now, that's why we include 3 meters of grease hose. That helps you move around the machine. It also helps you get up to access points that may otherwise feel unsafe, right? Where you're off the ground, you're greasing a boom or something. Now, with the LockNLube grease coupler, you lock the grease coupler onto that fitting, you know it's not gonna leak and it's not gonna pop off. You're safely on the ground operating the grease gun. So like I said, 3 meters of hose, right? This is a lot of grease hose. Plenty of length to get at the machine without having to move the G-Gun around every time you're going to grease another fitting. When you go to store it, you can just wrap the hose around the canister and it is lined up so that this storage clip right here holds onto your grease coupler, keeps it clean, keeps it out of the way so that the working end is as clean as it can be when you go to use the G-Gun again. For anyone who's used to using tubes or cartridges, there's always that question of, well, how do I buy bulk grease? What do I do with it? How do I move it? So bulk grease is gonna come in a variety of different sizes. Smallest is usually about a 5-gallon bucket. So you'll get just over 2 refills of the G-Gun here. Think of that as about 50 tubes of grease. Now, before you fill this up with grease, you're gonna see that inside you've got some instructions. These are loading and priming instructions. You've also got a set of spare parts for your grease coupler in here because the LockNLube grease coupler is rebuildable. Now, on the lid of the G-Gun, in big giant letters, we have keep grease clean. You need to be moving the grease in a way where you're not introducing contaminants into the bucket. That's where the G-Scoop comes in. You've got your bucket of grease. The scoop here, which looks like a toilet brush but is not, scoops out the inside of the bucket. You take your paddle, scrape the grease into the container, flip this over, scrape off the back to get as much grease in here as possible. When you're done moving the grease into the G-Gun, this goes right back in here. This unit is now contained and stays clean, so when you go to reload the G-Gun again, you've got a clean scoop, clean grease in the bucket, and a clean container here to accept it. For more details on how to actually load and prime a G-Gun and to see us do it and walk you through all the details of it, check out the link below. We have a whole separate video walking you through that. Now, because the pump unit is located at the bottom of the canister, it's self-lubricating. The grease that's in there is gonna keep all the parts lubed and gonna keep them working for a very, very long time. We have units that have been in the field for literally decades before needing any service. Now you push down on the foot pedal with your foot to move the pump. What that's doing is not only pulling grease into the pump unit, but creating a wave action in the grease so that everything's getting pulled down, you're not getting any air pockets, your grease gun is staying primed. So once you've filled up your G-Gun, put your lid back on, and you're ready to go. So that's it. That's the G-Gun and the G-Scoop. This unit here is built for serious industrial application. You're gonna get more grease per stroke. You're gonna get as much pressure as any grease gun in the world. You're gonna get all the benefits of using bulk grease, paying less for your grease, reloading and priming your grease gun less often, and the versatility of the super long hose to move around that machine without moving the grease gun itself. Thanks very much for watching. For more information, check out LockNLube.com.